Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, got my old SCX6 back out. It's been a little while since I've worked on this or driven it. This video, I'm going to be doing a couple upgrades. I got these E-Viratrue Aluminum 7075 rod ends, complete set. Pretty much every single rod end on the entire truck, including the shock rod ends and some nice aluminum spring cups to install. So it's going to be a bit of a job to install all of these. So I'll show you the basics. I'm not going to bore you guys to death with, 2 hours worth of rod end replacement. So let's get these installed. I'm going to get a weight on these before I install them, and then I will weigh the plastic ones when I take them off. I'm just curious. I don't think it's a huge difference. I might be surprised though. I don't know, but most of that weight is going to be down low on the links here near the axles and so on. So any little bit helps. And these are going to be way stronger than the plastic ones. I did actually break my end on my panhard mount. Kind of drove it off a cliff, but that's a whole other story. So anyway, guys, let's get a closer look at these and start installing them and see how it works out. Hey guys, so here is the kit for the shocks. Comes with the lower rod ends and some nice aluminum spring cups here. And these are all of the rod ends for the entire vehicle. And you can see this is kind of that odd shaped one for your panhard mount. This is actually the one that I broke. The stock one is like really cut out and pretty weak. And yeah, so these are really nice. E-Viratrue makes some really nice aluminum products here. And the owner of the company was cool enough to reach out to me, said he liked a lot of my videos, and he sent me a couple things to test out. So I'm going to give him a shot. And I've had good luck in the past. I have a bell crank from him on my Super Rock Ray, which is awesome. I just wrapped up a video of the bell crank install on my hammer ray, and that was phenomenal. Huge upgrade for that. So yeah, he's coming on strong with a lot of the parts he's got available for a ton of different RCs, and I'm really interested to check these out and see how well they work. So let's get right to it. You can also get this in a smaller kit for just the steering link and the panhard rod. Okay, so these are 250 grams. I have the ones for the steering open, but no big deal. I'll just weigh them the same way with the stock ones, and I'll throw this plastic bag back on there.
Stock one's 125. I just added the plastic because I weighed it. With the other ones, it's whatever. So yeah, they are exactly double the weight. So.
And these are marked right and left, so shouldn't be too difficult to match up. Okay, so we get the kind of jam nut on there. And I'm not going to use any thread lock just because you can tighten this nut against that and it should stay nice and tight. So anything that is a reverse thread, you're going to use the ones marked L for a left-hand thread. And I may pop this out and just take a measurement. Maybe I'll do it on the other side. Actually, probably what I'll do is just take both of them off. I'll do one with the aluminum, leave one stock, and just make sure I'm getting the exact same length just by, winding this fully in as far as it will go, and then seating this nut here. So, and then it should hopefully simplify things going forward. Okay, so I have both lowers off, and these are wound fully in. The lock nut is fully seated in there. I didn't hit it with a wrench or anything, just hand tight, and then just wound these down. And it seems to be pretty much perfect length, so that's good. It should make this quite easy to install. And also, just for reference and to keep things easier, if you need to adjust these links at all, keep this little line here all pointing toward the front of the truck. You can see every link has the little line, and that just indicates your thread direction. And this way, if you do need to turn these to lengthen or shorten them, they're all in the same orientation. So it just makes it a lot easier. And I'm also going to be installing these with the scratch side down just to keep the top side nice and shiny. So just grab a 10 and a 13. With the 13, you can hold the rod end in place with the 10, you can snug the nut, and just remember that some are reverse thread, so you're going to want to go the opposite direction. And there you have it. First one done, a lot more to go. I did just notice I have a decent amount of play in the stock rod ends. The uppers, where they mount to the skid, they do seem to be a little bit almost like ovalized. So maybe it's just from taking some hard tumbles and having the rear kind of smack into the ground, and it stretched out these rod ends a little bit. So maybe that's one benefit to, that's definitely a benefit to going with aluminum. You're not going to stretch these out. So let's see, once we get everything together, you can see it's you know, it's not a huge deal, but it is kind of annoying. And you can absolutely see that it is all in this rod end right here. Okay, and these inner ones, the one I was just pointing out that is a little bit loosey-goosey, those are angled, and he does provide a couple angled ones just for those. So just pay attention to that, and everything should be good to go. For the shock rod end, spring cup, fucking 15 grams. For the E-Viratrue parts, stockers are 10. So you're picking up 20 grams down low. For the shock rod ends, I am using a little drip of blue thread lock, just because there is no nut that tightens up against there, and I don't want this to kind of rotate its way out, if that's even a possibility. But just to be safe, little thread lock, good to go. Okay, so I got all the rear link rod ends done, and I got, batteries done. All right. And I just got one shock done for now, but it's tighter than it was stock. You know, these curved rod ends up here definitely had a little bit of play in them. I'm not sure if it's just the location on those or for what reason, but all the other ones seem pretty tight, and the you know, the stock ones were definitely either worn or just stretched a little bit, because they definitely had more play than this. So we'll see how these hold up long term. I am definitely going to throw some of this Speedex. It's like an anti-corrosion and also a lubricant. I'm going to put a little drip on all of the hollow balls, and hopefully it keeps it nice and quiet. I noticed the stock ones do get kind of creaky at times, so we'll see how these fare in terms of running through water and everything else. So let's get the rest of these done, and I'll show you guys the final results.
Okay, so to get to this one panhard mount here, I just removed the 2 top links and just removed 2 of the screws from the trans. You maybe could leave them all in there. And these I just loosened enough so that the entire transmission assembly here with the motor drop down, and it gives you hopefully just enough clearance to get to this one. I'm going to try to sneak it out this way. Yep, that worked. I was able to sneak it out, just keep these kind of loose, get some space under there. Use the ball end hex and just worked it out. The front, you know, it gets a little tricky. Just do one at a time. I ended up taking the whole front axle off. I'm going to leave these for last. I did the whole front steering and the panhard and everything else. So not too bad. Just, you know, take your time and do just one link at a time, and just, you know, make sure you match everything up right. Keep track of which way these lines go, just so you know which way, you know, to tighten or loosen these if you want to adjust them, and it's all pretty straightforward. Here are some pics of the completed job after my first test run, and they are a little bit scraped up. Not too bad. I expected that. My stock ones were pretty banged up from getting dragged across the rocks, so that was my one concern, was whether or not they were going to kind of create a little extra friction going over the rocks, but I didn't notice any issues. There's really not a lot of surface area on just the rod ends themselves, and the rest of the links are all metal as well, so I don't expect it to really cause any issues, but don't expect them to stay looking fresh and new for very long if you drive in rocks like I do here in this area. But overall, 0 complaints. I took a few pretty hard tumbles. You'll see one coming up shortly. I think it's right here. Yeah. So not that who knows? I've had tumbles like that where I've thought, okay, that shouldn't break anything, and then you pick up a truck and you have a broken rod end, or you know, an axle, a panhard, whatever. So you never know. Just depends on how it rolls and if it hits any rocks on the way down. But zero damage from that, and no issues throughout the entire day. I didn't get any kind of creaking or squeaking. I did lubricate these, as I mentioned earlier, with some of that SpeedX anti-corrosion lubricant, and they were silent the entire run. So very happy with that. I did notice my stock plastic ones were starting to creak quite a bit, and I've had okay luck lubricating the stock plastic one on other trucks, but you got to be careful with what you use. Sometimes it actually makes it worse. So with these, with the SpeedX, it definitely worked well. You could probably use any type of lubricant on these and it would be fine. WD-40 even. Definitely you want to do that with these after you run in water or mud or any kind of moisture in them, just to really prevent any corrosion from forming. Even though it is stainless steel and aluminum, you never know. You just want to kind of get all the moisture out if possible. So, and it keeps them quieter, so I would definitely recommend doing that. But yeah, overall very happy with the performance. I think there's not much to complain about. They're definitely stronger than the stock ones. Yeah, I have no doubt that 7075 aluminum is stronger than, you know, plastic rod ends. So time will tell in terms of longevity, and if they do start to develop any type of wear or any issues, I will definitely let you guys know. You'll see this truck in future videos, and I don't have any plans on taking these rod ends off. So I will run them as long as they last, right? It's definitely an upgrade in terms of durability. So I just on that basis alone, I'm happy with these. They do add some weight. You know, it is double the weight of the stock plastic. And on a truck this heavy, 125 grams, you know, scattered throughout the lengths, I don't think is noticeable in any way. So I wouldn't. Yeah, I guess it's a plus if you count like any. Yeah, this
SCX6, the rock breaker.
This damn truck broke the rock as I was driving. I always forget, like, if I haven't driven this truck for a while, and you forget just how big and heavy this thing is until you get it out on the rocks, and it starts doing things like that, just like chipping sections of the rock off. But yeah, had a lot of fun driving this today. It's been a while. Last time I drove this, I think, was in the video where I put these tires on. These are the Power Hobby Mud Boss. They come with a nice dual stage foam, which I am still running in this video. I probably will switch back to my anti-foams at one point, just because I do like to play around in streams and water and mud, and I don't want to ruin these foams by getting them wet. I am really happy with the performance of these foams. I'm curious to put them up against the anti-foams in terms of just all around traction, but I like how these don't shift around in the wheel like the anti-foams do. That was my one complaint with those, is that they moved a little bit on the beadlock ring. So I'm not sure if you guys have found a good solution for that. I know some guys have mentioned using some E6000 glue, but it seems kind of like a pain in the ass if and when you do want to pull them apart. So that would be my one reason for sticking with these dual stages that came with these tires. But it's a great deal. These tires are, you know, for the money, it comes with really nice dual stage foam. So I think it's a really good bargain. But if you want to see what else I have done to this truck, just check out some of my previous videos. I do have some playlists. Pretty much all my videos now are grouped into playlists, so you can go and check out my SCX6 playlist and see how I stripped my stock body. This was originally the orange colored body stock, and I stripped it down with this Strip It Gold paint remover, which is perfectly safe for Lexan, and it came out really great. I sprayed it with this Spastics root beer color, and really happy with that. I may end up doing a different body on this truck just to change things up for you know, for future videos. I do really like that new Proline body, the Coyote. I might try that. I just don't know how well that's going to hold up in terms of just tumbling down rocks and it is pretty pricey. So I'm not sure. If you guys have experimented with any of the new bodies, let me know what you think of them. I know there are some different options in terms of the cab only, where you reuse the original rear cage, which might be a better option in terms of durability and strength. But I'm curious to know if you guys have tried anything else, and if you're happy with it. But just to switch it up, you know, I think this body holds up really well for a truck this heavy. But, you know, you just kind of get tired of looking at the same body all the time in the same rig. So just to change it up, I might experiment a little bit. But yeah, so what else can I say about this? It's a great truck, and, you know, I think making it even more durable is a step in the right direction. I did break my panhard mount on this, where it took a tumble off of a really, really high cliff. I just wasn't paying attention. I was driving the truck, and I looked down because I was walking over some loose rocks and stuff. I looked down for a second, and just the truck veered off a little too close to the edge, and just boom, fell off. Like, it had to be about 20 feet, and it bent my shock tower and broke my rod end on my panhard mount. So it is nice to have something a little more durable. I don't know, you know, the problem with making everything aluminum is that at some point that force has to go somewhere, and it is going to bend or break something. So that is one trade-off. I do typically like having like a weak point on suspension links or axles, because, you know, especially for a rod end, it is probably the most likely thing to break, and it's the cheapest thing to replace, but it is a pain in the ass to replace, especially out in the woods. If it's one that's hard to reach, it pretty much ends your day, you know, especially if you don't have the right tools with you or an extra rod end. So we'll see how this works out for me. You know, from lessons learned, I do now always have my backpack with me with extra tools and extra parts, especially driving a rig this big and heavy. You do not want to carry this thing back very far. This spot here is a solid like 12-15 minute walk back to the truck, and it is no fun carrying a truck this heavy. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. I'm gonna have a lot more stuff coming up. Any questions or comments, just hit me up and I will definitely get back to you guys. Check the description below for a link to these rod ends, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.